The Platters.
Oh, yes, I'm the great pretender. Bum, bum, bum.
Then tell him that he's lonesome now.
I was born one morning when the sun.
My mom was a housewife. My dad was a policeman. He worked 3 different shifts. He was hardly around. He would miss dinner many, many times, and it used to upset my mother a lot, and I could see it, and it would also upset me. I don't really remember how I heard about American Bandstand. I know it was never discussed by the boys on the block. Probably the girls maybe mentioned it. They would go home from school and watch these kids dancing on television, and at the time we only had 3 channels. I would come home from school and I started watching it when Bob Horn was the host, before Dick took over in 1956. Never a thought in my mind that I would someday even think of dancing on American Bandstand.
Look like I've been out with one of my gray-haired friends here.
Dick Clark I found to be a cold person. Of course, I was 16 at the time and Dick was 30 years old. He never really said hello to me. He would say hello to some of the regulars, but not many. Or if regulars went up to him, he would certainly talk to them and include them in whatever conversation they were having. I never had that opportunity, and I never took that opportunity. I was probably the only regular who was barred, and I mean when I say barred, not to be able to come back to the show for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. The reason I was barred was there was the front line of all the regulars dancing, and I was very tall, so I couldn't really get away with hiding in front of the camera because I was tall. And he would have a mic and he would say, "Big Ed, step to the back. Carmen, to the back." And no one would hear that, but you would see the kids digress from that front line. So I went in the back as I was instructed, and as I was dancing in the back, the cameras would come back. So I remember only once stepping toward the camera, and he saw it. And he said, "Big Ed, go home for 3 weeks." I became aware of the homosexual element when I was in high school because it was very obvious to the straight boys at that time that if you went to bandstand, you were considered a homosexual. So that's why it attracted, I feel, a certain group of people that I feel were either had no friends, you know what I mean, or like on the lonely side, having problems. If they were aware of their sexuality, they knew possibly that something wasn't right. And this was like a gathering place for us. So when I went to bandstand, I felt very comfortable. I never saw a black person dance with a white person, never. And I remember only seeing 2 black couples, maybe once, dancing, and they weren't dancing every song. It surprises me today that sometimes I see, back then, black kids in these pictures sitting in the bleachers. So that possibly could have happened maybe after 1961, but I'm sure it was very, very rare. This fame happened so young, you know. Some of the girls on the show were 12 years old, 12, 13 years old. They weren't able to take that opportunity at the time and sort of go with it. I feel the fame of a regular being on American Bandstand affected everyone, and at the time, when I look back, it wasn't really healthy. It's taken its toll on myself, and I feel on other regulars that I have seen through the years. It's taken its toll in one way or another.
Only you have that magic technique. When we sway, I grow weak. I can hear the sound of violins long before it begins. Sway me smooth, sway me now.